Hi, Amy.
Abby.
We just watched Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 2.
Yay.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't anything too exciting, I don't think. What?
No, it's just that was less than enthusiastic. It was all right. Meh,
Uh,
meh. It's equivalent to a meh.
yeah, yeah. I have a lot of concerns. I think that's my problem.
I think we all have concerns.
Yeah. What do you think of the episode?
Yeah, I'm getting more concerned as we go. There are some big things happening, and we'll dive into it, of course. But I just wanted to remind everybody that we're also going to be covering The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 10 at the end of this show. So stay tuned if you'd like to hear about that. All right, let's get started with all of these couples because there's a lot to dig into today. Starting with Rayne and Chidi. Okay, so Rayne is packing to go to Nigeria at the start.
Yes.
She is packing with a diapered chicken.
Mhm.
Do we all need to do this from now on? Is this the standard? Should we be all packing with chickens and diapers? Does it
I,
help?
I don't know. Do they peck them into place? Are they even remotely helpful, or are they just there for support?
Yeah, it seems to be emotional support chicken for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Rayne is heavily anticipating being physical with Chidi. Her intimate time with him is something that she's probably looking forward to the most out of everything in this trip, which worries me. I am concerned.
I am also concerned, especially because he has vocalized his concerns over her bad reactions,
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. That's a
her
very nice,
temper.
yes, that too. But she has her own set of concerns. And one of those is worms, specifically what she likes to call ass worms.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. This is not something that I've ever worried about when traveling. Have you?
Do- no, don't they have vaccinations to prevent parasites and all that jazz when you travel?
Yeah, I think there's pills that you can take. I don't think you need to get a vaccine against any kind of parasites, especially intestinal ones, but you can very easily get pills which kill the parasite and it's expelled from your body, no problem. However, for Rayne, this is a going concern. Okay, all right. I was really worried about her the way that and you mentioned this last week, she looked at the camera, she said about Chitty, you
Hmm.
can't run. Did you notice this one? With a
Yes,
smile and the eyes
yes.
that were completely dead. It's freaky.
Yeah, it's really, really creepy. Just the way that she seems to get so excited about saying something so strange and concerning, and then her face goes blank.
Yes. What is that?
I don't know, but it makes me uncomfortable.
Hmm. Okay, so I'm not the only one. That's good.
No, no, it's almost like serial killer vibes. Like I'm just telling everyone what they want to hear, but I have my own agenda,
Hmm.
which seems accurate, I think.
I, I would say so, yes.
I'm not saying that
Yeah,
she's a serial killer or that she has potential to, but her,
but it's the vibe.
yeah, yeah, I don't like it.
No. Again, concerning.
Hmm.
And meanwhile, Chitty is on his way to the airport. He's really looking forward to having what he calls an emotional connection with Rayne, seeing how that develops in person. So we already are being set up for this huge disconnect between the two of them over the type of connection that they are looking forward to having when they unite. She wants physical, he wants emotional. Okay,
And
are we
I
ready for
think
this?
that's quite obvious when she says, I'm not sure if this is a direct quote, but she said, he calls himself my soulmate. We're meant to be, therefore he's mine. Weird. And then I'm going to find him and I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah.
What?
Does he not have any say in this?
I don't know. Is it her phrasing, or is she just that awful of a human being?
Does she actually think that she has some kind of supernatural power which will enable her to overcome all of his beliefs, all of his faith, and he will have no choice but to give in to her and succumb to her wily ways, womanly ways? And
I don't know. But this is a conversation that they should have had before she even came.
Yes. A theme that repeats itself over and over again, and that grows more and more distressing to us as the audience, I'm sure. Because if you watch the show, if you go on the show, surely you understand that these things are very important. And unless you actually have these conversations before you get together in person, there's a kind of a big chance things won't work out.
You know, one of the biggest foundations for an excellent relationship is communication. And it seems as though so many of these couples fail. And we've seen this, like, it's a common theme throughout the whole 90-day franchise, and even with this current season, just the things that these people don't talk about that are absolute paramount for a successful relationship. And no, we'll figure it out.
But it makes me wonder. Yeah, I know, exactly. How are you going to figure it out? But it makes me wonder, do they actually have these conversations and then they pretend not to have had them for the sake of the show? Because you have to be incredibly dumb not to realize that maybe you should talk about important things like your faith or your expectations for sex in the relationship, or your job or your money or the finance. All of the things are super important. So why are these people not discussing them?
I don't know. And if you're not talking about this, what are you talking about?
Another good question. Yes, I don't think they could really have too many conversations about chickens before it would become a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
As lovely as chickens are. Nothing against chickens.
Maybe they just have so much more of a personality than we could ever have envisioned, imagined.
Yeah.
And there's just so much to talk about. I really don't know.
Let's go with that, because that's the most positive outlook that I think there possibly could be.
Look at me being positive. Yay!
And yet we have no evidence of that being the case.
I shall Google chicken personalities.
All right. So these two, Rayne and Chidi, finally meet at the airport. They share this really big hug. After she walks past him already, she walked past him once, and his brother-in-law had to go get her, bring her back to Chidi and say, you walked by him. This is him. That was pretty funny. But they have this really intense hug, and I thought that it was sweet. But again, there's the question of why haven't they discussed the physical aspect of their relationship? He is giving her all the signs at the airport that things are good, that he's interested, and yet we know that he's not going to follow through with anything because of his beliefs. Okay. And then we hear all about his reticence over telling her that she'll be sleeping in another room while she's staying with his family. And she's not even, he is not even going to do that before it's nighttime, which I found really quite funny because he's quite afraid. He's really got some scared vibes happening.
He hesitates quite a bit. So this is my room, and this is your room. What? But his spirit will be with her.
Well, that's a comfort.
Isn't it?
Totally comforts me. I don't know about Renee.
I think he's going to need a little more than a couple doors to keep her away.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So when she was going to the house, she mentioned that she had a strange feeling. That's what she called it, about Chidi's sister. And then she explained that she believes that it will come to pass that there's a problem between her and the sister. And I'm like, girl, you're making that happen by believing it's going to happen. You have no prior experience with this woman. You don't know that's going to happen. You don't really know what she thinks of you or feels about you. So why are you making this an issue before it even has become one? And obviously, if she believes it to be true, she's going to manifest it. It's going to happen at some point. We're going to see some big fallout between the sister and Renee.
It's her self-fulfilling prophecy.
We
Prophecy.
do lots of prophecies here. Yes.
We do. And I thought it was really strange when she said that she was excited to lead him around because she was jealous of his brothers and sisters and how they get to do it. So she's already jealous of the sister for helping her brother maneuver through the physical life to survive.
Yes. A little off-putting. I don't like the jealousy, and especially the jealousy for doing something that is absolutely necessary for this man to get through the day.
Yeah.
Why?
It's concerning. And then it's also concerning, like, if and when they do go out on their own, what is she going to do? Like, what is she capable of? Like, I can't imagine, her leading him into danger, but it just the way that she speaks is just like, what are your intentions here? It bothers me.
Agreed. I felt like with regards to the sister and the way that she's already negatively viewing the sister, that she's in the perfect position to blame the sister if there's a lack of intimacy that she finds to be problematic. She's already got a target for directing all of her anger and her problems in her relationship with Chidi too. Does that make sense? Yeah. I feel like
the way that you're describing it makes sense.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the setup.
Yeah. It just, I can't imagine walking into that situation with already having someone to peg the blame onto. Like,
yeah,
you already know something's going to go wrong. You've already picked that point person. And as you said, it's just going to happen because she manifests it.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Chidi's really scared. He doesn't know when to tell Renee about the separate bedroom things. He does go ahead and do it finally at the end of the night, which is good. I'm glad he did say the words, because I was worried there for a moment that he wasn't going to actually be specific with her. He was just going to kind of leave her in that room and say good night and wander off to his room, perhaps.
She would have followed him.
She would have. Yes, 100%. And she didn't look happy at all during this speech that Chidi's giving her, but she did kind of try to take it all on board. She was kind of good about it. Her face didn't really say it, but obviously he's not seeing the expression on her face, so he can only hear that she's being quiet while he's saying, you're going to sleep in this room, I'm going to sleep in the other room. I feel like she's ready to railroad him into sleeping with her. No matter what. She's going to get her way somehow. So watch this space. I know.
Okay.
Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
Let's move on probably to the most concerning couple so far this season. Tigerlily and Adnan.
Like, my face says it all. Can't even get my eyebrow down.
The eyebrow is definitely giving away your feelings here. Tigerlily has 3 extra large, super big, massive suitcases for this 1-week trip to Jordan. All right.
And she needs everything.
She does. Oh, yes. I felt immediately she's trying to be a real housewife. Because by taking her glam squad with her, So, okay, she's not just paying for herself to go to Jordan for a week. She's paying for these two other people, one of whom is her hairstylist. She's paying for them to go. She's paying for all of this ridiculous and very excessive luggage. She's definitely a wannabe Real Housewife. Okay. And I wanted to ask you, do you think in the history of 90 Day Fiancé that we've ever had such a wealthy cast member?
That's a good question.
Because I don't think I've
I
ever
don't
seen
think so.
anything like this, where
I
they
don't.
bring other people, not just another person, but people, and they pay for everything. It was really something to behold.
No, we've seen fake money before, like Luke, but
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen anything like this.
Yeah. It's one of a kind. So I'll give her that. But meanwhile, after we see her go off to the airport with all of her people and all of her bags, Adnan is getting ready in Jordan for his, what you might call a bachelor party, where his brothers and friends take him to a hammam to go have a massage, Turkish bath, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like fun on the little spa day. But I do get concerned when I hear him speaking about appearances. He talks a lot about him being so good looking,
Mm-hmm.
about how women basically throw themselves at him all the time. He talks a lot about how good looking Tigerlily is, how cute her outfits are. He doesn't seem to really express much that's of any kind of depth. There's no, she's a very loving partner, or she has this way about her, or I really love the way that she does that. It's mostly she's good looking, she wears cute outfits, and I'm good looking too.
Yeah, there's absolutely no substance at all to
Mm-hmm.
anything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, and the guy's only 22, so you have to give him a little bit of leeway for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not really had much experience yet. And speaking of that experience, we do find out that the reason why they're getting married in such a hurry is because he wants to have sex with her. And so the only way he can legitimately do that in his faith is to marry her right away, because he's not
Mm-hmm.
even allowed to touch her, hug her, kiss her, or do anything physically intimate at all in public.
And he's a virgin, at least now.
Yes. Now we know.
Well, he said, I am now a virgin. I'm assuming it was like a translation thing,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think that he would have gotten it back.
No, I'm pretty sure once you lose it, it's gone for good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least for men.
Yeah. But what bothered me was when he was talking to his brothers and friends, is he said that he was going to teach her their traditions and values.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go again with an American woman traveling overseas, not researching the faith, the culture, the traditions, nothing.
Yeah.
So yet another couple who, at least one of them wants to make the other change already. Okay, great.
Absolutely. And the really astonishing thing is that we've heard so much about her speaking last week about the fact that she doesn't want a controlling man. She's been in this relationship, this marriage that was unsuccessful because of how controlling her husband was. And yet she's immediately leaping into the arms of a man whose entire being, whose culture, whose religion, whose faith, everything about him says, I need to control a woman. I need to be respected. She has to do what I say. She's got to
Mm-hmm.
learn her place. She can't do this with another man. She can't have any male friends. She has to dress the way that I tell her to dress. Tell me that's not controlling.
And all this body for me.
Yeah, the possessiveness was quite scary,
Yeah.
but I
It
thought,
was heavy.
yeah, I thought that the controlling words and the controlling behavior was really quite breathtaking. And I just can't for the life of me figure out why she hasn't determined that maybe this isn't the right kind of guy for her to go for, given what she just went through and all the things that she says she doesn't want to have in a relationship anymore.
Yes, but she's so in love with him. He's so good looking.
I understand. And, you know, she can be as superficial as she likes. But at the end of the day, she's got kids and she's going to end up divorced a second time. And these poor kids are going to have to go through the ringer once more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
And then she's going to lose half her money, all of her money. Does her money become his now?
I don't know.
Just seems like a very, very stupid decision. And even, you know, when they're getting ready, they're like, are you sure that you want to do this? And she's like, well, I do have some concerns, but we don't have time to get on the same page. Yes,
I know.
You do. Yes,
you do.
do.
You do. You absolutely do. Take your time.
Put it off for a day, man. Put it off.
Yeah. Maybe even 2 or 3 days.
Oh, why does this have to happen immediately?
Oh.
Just because you're both horny? Like, what's one more day?
I don't know, man. It's beyond. I don't understand it. I just wanted to be petty for a moment and say that I thought that despite the fact that she had her glam team work on her in the plane while they're flying for who knows how long with the hair curler and the face stuff and the eye patchy things, I don't know what they're called. Even despite all of that stuff, when she lands, she has to go and spend at least an hour and a half in the washroom doing the outfit change and a further glam up. If this is how long it takes to look good, I don't want to look good. I just want to, I'm not interested. No, thank you.
No, thank you. No.
Wow. Wow.
Now, what are you doing in the bathroom for that long?
I don't
know. And how many
know.
planes have landed at that time? How many sinks are you taking up? Like, you're just taking up so much space.
I know. No consideration. Just me. I have to look good. I have to be tasty. I have to have the cutest outfit.
Be tasty.
I don't know. Whatever she's thinking. The other thing that is also incredibly petty that I wanted to mention is the fact that her baby voice is driving me up the freaking wall.
Mm-hmm.
When she talks to him, when she's talking to Adnan, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
It gets even more babyish and soft. Oh. Makes me want to bring up my slapping hands.
You sit on those hands, B. Sit on those hands. Remember, we do not condone physical violence.
Absolutely not. We do not.
Despite wanting.
The urge is there, but I shall not act. I promise.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say about the petty stuff. But there was a moment when they were driving from the airport. So she's in the front with Adnan, and then her 2 glam squad people are in the back. And Adnan is driving like a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
He's driving excessively fast because he wants to show off to all of these people how manly he is. If ever there was a sign that a man is immature, this is it. This is the moment. It's like, okay, you don't have to put all of our lives in danger for the sake of you declaring to everybody that you're a man. It's okay. It's all right. 22. There are other ways. At 22, there are other ways to do it. Oh, man.
In his defense, his brain isn't fully developed yet.
That's true. He's got a few more years to go before he gets the, what is it? Which part? You know cortex? The part. Is it prefrontal cortex? Okay, that part. So. Yeah, the logic and reason part has to develop. They say around age 25 is when you fully get matured there. Yeah.
Yes.
He's not there yet.
No.
Not at all. Anyway, the other funny thing was when they're driving, they have nothing to say to one another. They're totally silent. What was with that?
I don't know.
How's it going? What have you been up to? Tell me about about this place. What's Jordan like? How are your kids? Talk to the people in the back. Ask them how their trip was. No,
Maybe it's
nothing.
because the blood wasn't in their brains.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Both of them. Ugh. I feel gross just saying that out loud, but
Yeah.
it was such an awkward drive.
Very. And then the most awkward part of all was when he brings up the fact that he wants to have 5 kids, and they have never discussed this. Excuse me?
Isn't she 40 something?
She's she's 41. So I was thinking, okay, if you guys get started when she's 41, yeah, you can probably get pregnant. But the second one, that's going to be hard. The third one, that's going to be really hard. The fourth one, probably not happening. She's lucky if she gets 3 more.
Unless
she's really
she has
lucky.
quintuplets.
Oh, well, they could do that, couldn't they? I'm sure she could afford to have that whatever process arranged for her. Or maybe she'll have surrogates.
Which will then become his other wives.
Oh, yuck. But again, these are the basics. Talk about the basics before you get married. Talk about them before you even get on a plane to go to somebody's country. It's a really good idea to get on the same page about how many kids that you would like to have or not have. Really good idea.
There's a lot of good ideas that none of these people follow.
No.
Or even seem to think of.
No,
because
they're too busy thinking about their hair and their eyes and their bums and their boobs. It's too much already. Why would we start thinking about the future, children, finance? No. Let's just worry about how we look. Yeah.
The pictures are going to last longer than their marriage.
They're on their way to the marriage ceremony next, in the next scene. And Adnan tells Tigerlily that his mom is going to be there. And it sounds like 1 or 2 of his brothers. Some of his family is going to be at this ceremony, which she says they originally agreed to would be just the 2 of them plus 1 witness, which would be his brother. So there's all of that surprise element for her to cope with, as well as other last minute surprises, like how many children he wants to have. All of this, would it not give you pause for thought if you were in her shoes? To say, hey, you know what? Let's just hold off on things for a few hours, maybe a day or 2, and let's have some time to really connect you and I together, because it seems like they have different expectations. They have a different understanding of how things are going to happen.
But they don't have time.
I keep forgetting. Time is of the essence here. Yeah, that's right. They do have to go ahead and get married right away without being on the same page. You're right.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I can't wrap my brain around that.
No.
If you have this many concerns walking into it, why? This isn't love at first sight.
No, it's real. It's a real wedding. It's legal.
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
I know. I just want to run away, but I can't.
It's stressing me out.
Okay, let's leave the stress behind. Let's go talk about somebody else.
Okay.
Let's go to Loren and Faith. Oh boy. Couple number 3, who is concerning me. Trainwreck for you, okay. Again, very, very concerning. Lots of weird stuff going on here, including the fact that he's cleaning his armpits with a wet wipe in the middle of an airport. Could you not have gone to a washroom?
And where did the wet wipe come from?
Does he not understand that other people don't want to watch him washing his armpits?
No.
Okay.
No, he does not.
Moving on. Back in Manila, Faith is working so hard at her job in the hotel where she's some kind of a manager. And she also, we find out, has other jobs that she does on the days when she's not working at the hotel. So basically, I would assume that means on the weekends or whatever her days off may be.
Evenings, weekends, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And she tells us that she doesn't know what Loren's main job is. Bless her. Okay, he doesn't have a main job. But she is under the impression that money isn't a problem for Loren, that he's fine, both in terms of a job
Mm-hmm.
and his financial security, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she starts talking about how she will move to the US eventually. And she would like to do that because, of course, in the US, she can make more money than she makes in the Philippines. Good for her. Okay, that's clear. Why doesn't she know that Loren is not somebody who's full-time employed? He has part-time jobs that he doesn't like. Why doesn't she know about his homelessness? Why hasn't he told her any of this?
Because he has to create his own narrative. He has to make sure that he puts forth this person that would actually fall in love with him and be willing to be with him. Because if she knew the truth,
Yeah.
ain't no way.
Yeah. What makes it even more sad is the fact that she keeps talking about the fact that she just hopes that Loren is who he says he is when he gets to the Philippines. And obviously he is not. Because if he's creating this narrative for himself in order for her to fall in love with him, none of which is really true, then, oh my gosh, the fallout when she figures out he has no job, he has no home, he intends to move in with you, and oh, by the way, he likes open relationships. He's been cheating on you this whole time.
I'm not good with math, but I would believe that that equation would not equate to success.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's just narrowly on the side of failure. Just narrowly, just a hair. Just a touch. A touch of failure is coming up their way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So we have this discussion with her. She talks also about the fact that he's going to have his own hotel room at the hotel that she works at. So he's planning to stay there. And it sounds like she has her own room there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
She
I
lives
couldn't.
there.
Okay. So she lives at the hotel. She has her own room. It's probably a staff room. It's not going to be as nice as the guest room, but he has to reserve his own room. I'm thinking, wow, how has he actually pre-booked this? Is he going to be able to pay for it? Or is he just kind of making the assumption that he would have to book it for one night and then the rest of the time he's going to sleep in her room? Yuck.
That's a good question. Those presumptions make me uncomfortable.
Yeah. We don't know that that's for sure. I'm just making a guess. But given what we know of him so far and the fact that he is kind of sneaky in what he chooses to reveal and not reveal about his personal life, I wouldn't put it past him that he is absolutely counting on being able to stay with her, and then he doesn't have to spend the money because, in fact, he doesn't have the money to be able to afford to stay at this hotel for, it's about 3 weeks that he's going to be in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've already heard him in the last episode say something to the effect of, well, are you going to sneak into my hotel room?
Yeah.
Is he going to try to sneak into hers?
Ew.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact that we know from a little bit of research online and what's been coming up through social media that Loren has kids in the US.
Mm-hmm.
He has a family. Was divorced. So his move to the Philippines becomes even more strange, even more difficult to understand for me when I know that he has kids, because is he just planning on abandoning them?
It seems that way because he doesn't have like a full-time job. So
Mm-hmm.
how is he paying child support? Is his moving to the Philippines a way to get out of it completely?
That's what I wondered. Yeah. Is he planning on just giving up that family and walking away from the kids, walking away from his obligations, especially child support obligations, by saying, oh, I live abroad and I have no money?
And does Faith know that he has kids?
Another good question. We don't know. But the fact that he hasn't mentioned it to the audience, I find very suspicious. Because he never said at any point, I was married and I have these children here in the US who I'm going to miss a lot if I move to the Philippines, but I'm going to do this because it's true love. Something like that. No, no mention. Doesn't
This
matter.
guy's walking red flag.
Totally. So red. Walking red banner.
A red flag factory.
There you go.
Thank you. I said that
Are
with
we
a
done
lot
with
of
them?
conviction.
Oh,
Yeah, I definitely am.
okay. So the final couple this week were Brian and Ingrid. We got to spend a little bit more time with Ingrid, which was nice because we basically had not been introduced to her at all except through Brian. And we met her son. Now, this is just her younger son that we meet, and he's 3 years old. We didn't meet the older one, probably because he's old enough to say, hey, I don't want to be on camera. Stop it. And Ingrid lives in the countryside in this kind of remote place that we talked about last week. Looks like her house is very, very modest. It doesn't have any amenities, really, no luxuries for sure. Looks very basic. So she's definitely got a hard life. And it seems clear that she does want to escape it. So I don't think it's a far cry to say Ingrid is in it for the green card, although she may love Brian. I don't know yet. What do you think?
I haven't gotten the green card alert yet from her. I think my biggest concern again is their lack of communication,
Mm-hmm.
especially around his limitations,
Yeah.
not just like sexually, but just him being able to get around that we were discussing last week. I think this is going to be a very, very difficult adventure for both of them. And I
Yeah.
can't peg what her intentions are at this point. Like when they saw each other at the airport, it seemed really genuine and they were so cute.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, for
I
me,
don't
it
know.
was when she was talking to her girlfriend, and the girlfriend immediately said, when they were talking about Brian, that Ingrid, was ready to go. She said, oh, of course, you're going to the US. And this friend clearly knows her very well. And I thought for her to make that comment just so offhandedly like that and so quickly, to me signaled that they had talked about it before, where they might have had a conversation about, well, what if you met a guy from online from a different country? Would you leave? And Ingrid seems like she would have been ready to go. Again, just a guess, just a feeling based off that conversation that she had with her friend, but I thought it was kind of telling.
That's fair. We're just going to
Mm-hmm.
have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. So, yes, she has never dated somebody in a wheelchair before. And she told her friend, her girlfriend, that Brian was in a wheelchair for the first time. She'd not told anybody yet. And the friend seemed really taken aback about it and was starting to ask questions of Ingrid about how she would handle certain things. And this is when I saw that Ingrid is completely naive about what it means to be in a wheelchair. And like we talked about last week, Brian hasn't discussed any of the bedroom or bathroom aspects of what the reality of his life are like with Ingrid. So she doesn't know yet.
And
It'll be interesting.
I wonder if he's told her about like the actual like being an actual quadriplegic as well, because he's got the issues with his hands and his arms. Does she know about that?
No, because what she specifically said, he told her, is that he leads a normal life. He's just a normal guy doing all the things, all the normal things, except that his legs are in a chair. So he has painted a picture of his life that is totally unrealistic. And they have not discussed between the two of them what she will have to do for him and what he's actually capable of doing. So I think they're both being really naive and idealistic about the situation so far.
I think so too. It bothers me that he hasn't brought this up to her because I think it's going to be integral
Mm-hmm.
to the success of their relationship.
Yeah.
Like, is she going to look at him and be like, "Oh, you didn't tell me all of this. This is not what I had signed up for." Because sure, he does do all the normal things that normal people do,
Mm-hmm.
but to get dressed in the morning takes him an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it takes him longer. He
Mm-hmm.
can still do it, but it takes him longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be the most interesting thing about this couple is to see how they adjust to him being in a wheelchair and if she can cope with it, how she relates to him, everything about how his life is different and how that transpires or how that manifests itself in their relationship. I think that's going to be the most interesting part of the relationship because we've never seen that before on 90 Day Fiancé. This is the very first wheelchair relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So their meeting at the airport, I also felt was totally genuine and touching. I really enjoyed it. I thought it bodes well for the couple that they had that kind of a meeting together. But again, we'll have to see.
And now we wait till next week.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of next week, the preview showed us that Brian is going to be taking a blue pill. So good for him. We're going to meet Sunny and Via.
Yes.
He's the one who's in South Africa. Faith is going to set some boundaries with Loren. Good for her. Love boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And Renee is going to start showing some of her true colors. Yippee.
I think this is going to be a great episode.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than the one that we just watched.
Could be.
I'm still hopeful that this is going to be a great season.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we love the couples or not, hopefully the drama is worth watching.
I definitely think it's worth watching because it is different. It is new. And we're not repeating the same old patterns, except for things like, actually communicating coherently as a couple.
Yeah.
That's always going to be there. But everything else feels new, seems new. And I am still excited.
Optimism. Okay.
Huh. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
Right. So our bonus content this week is for The Other Way Season 6, Episode 10. It looks like we're winding down the season. I think there are only 2 more to go after this one. I'm not totally sure, but that is my feeling.
I would be entirely okay with that because even though it's only episode 10, I'm just so done with all of them.
Oh, wow.
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's get through it so you don't have to spend too much of your day discussing these people that you are so done with. We start off, as usual, with James and Natalia. They're officially moving into the parents' house, so they're taking over that room that we saw them go into last week, the James's room that was kind of like a construction site. And I really like the fact that both James and Tata take up tools and start getting into work and right away are fixing up this place to be their own. Of course, they're getting help from the parents, but I thought that was a nice thing for them to do as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And James describes that the layout of the house is such that the parents' room is right beside theirs. Not sure if I like that. Do you share a wall with your parents? Is that a good thing? I don't think so.
I would say no, but aren't they concrete walls? Like there might be some sort of soundproofing there. But because there's also nothing on the walls and nothing on the floor,
yeah,
it could echo.
Yeah, I don't think it's good either with soft furnishings or without. I think that the fact that you share a wall with your parents' bedroom is not a good start.
No.
Yeah.
It's also not a good start when James or Josh, is it James or Josh?
James.
When he says that he still can't picture himself living with his mother and father-in-law. He can't picture it.
And yet he is doing it.
And yet they've apparently made this decision that they're going to be there permanently.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still not sure about it. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, he's very indecisive. It's a bit annoying. The family is all talking about children, and they're talking about children a lot. Like every sentence is about kids, grandkids, etc. So Tata's parents really, really want to be grandparents. And Tata, clearly, she wants to have a family. So the only odd man out here is James. And I started wondering, is this a fake storyline? Is this just the drama that they're creating for us artificially? Does James actually want to have a family? And this is just, material by making us believe that he doesn't, because at some point, maybe in the next 2 episodes, he's going to have a change of heart and then everything will all be well between them.
Or she'll just magically get pregnant.
Or that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say, because like nothing that they've done or said has really made sense. And they've lied to themselves and they've lied to each other and to everyone else. So is this another lie or is this a storyline? I really don't know.
All right. I was hoping you would have the answer for me, but again,
I hope that he decides that he doesn't want kids, because I think the two of them are going to be awful, awful parents. Why would you bring a child into this life when you're both so utterly incompetent?
I think that's the first reason why they would have children. If they're utterly incompetent, they don't know it.
Please
and so they're bound to have kids.
Please don't. Just don't do it. Don't do it for the family.
No. That's sad. All right, Dempsey and Statler. This doesn't go very well.
Nope.
Dempsey is selling some of her things at a car boot sale. I thought that was a fabulous idea. Make a little extra money on the side, getting rid of some of the stuff that you can no longer have because you live in this tiny little space now.
Mm-hmm.
But this leads to an argument about money, of course. And I love the way that Statler says, "Oh, I see myself as a giver. Somebody who always gives all of her money away to her partner, to her loved one. And she doesn't want to be taken advantage of."
Yeah, it's almost like a caregiver kink, but with limitations.
Severe limitations.
Yeah, she wants to take care of someone until it's to her detriment, or until she gets some sort of an ick, and then she's like, "No, it's all mine. It's all mine."
The way that I was looking at it was that she wants to be perceived as the giver. She wants to be perceived in the good light as the person who is kind and generous and all of those things. But meanwhile, she's, because of her beliefs about herself being not worthy and unlovable, she's sabotaging the whole situation from behind the scenes. And it's such an incredibly toxic situation because Statler is setting this up for failure, and she's setting it up by blaming Dempsey for things that they have agreed to between the two of them. But then she just claims, "Oh, I don't remember that conversation. I don't think that happened."
She conveniently forgets.
Yeah. So you say you'll do something or be something, like be a provider in a relationship, and then later on you tell your partner, "You're actually using me. You're using me for my money." But meanwhile, you decided between the two of you that that would be the way the situation, the way the relationship works. So Statler is deliberately sabotaging everything, and she's saying little nasty things to us in the meantime, like she thinks Dempsey is hiding money from her, not from us. And she thinks that the purchase of the van is actually a scam, and that's somewhere down the line she's going to lose it because it was and always has been a scam. She's so paranoid. It's really off-putting.
I also
No?
wonder if she's projecting her issues, excuse me, with the
Ah,
relationship
yeah.
onto everything else. And she's just hyper focused on the money,
Yep.
either because A, the big thing hasn't come out yet, or B, she is just not allowed to talk about it or can't talk about it yet.
Mm.
Something's going to come down the line. Pretty sure it has something to do with Dempsey cheating. But I think this relationship was doomed to fail from the very beginning because, you know, you're traveling around around Europe, whatever, in a van. And, you know, Statler likes her structure, her routine. And Dempsey is just like a float by the seat of your pants, laissez-faire kind of human being. I can see how sometimes those couples can work because, you know, one can ground the other and the other one can, you know,
Give you more
help the other.
spontaneity.
Yeah, exactly. But not with this one. Mm-mm.
Nope.
Mm-mm. No. This is failure written all over it. It is going to explode in their faces. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It is coming and coming fast, I'm sure. I mean, if you think about the timeline, they've only been on the road for 2 days. So maybe they've been together for 3 days since Statler actually arrived in the UK. And already things are unraveling this quickly to this degree. It's remarkable.
Who didn't see that coming, though?
No. And the other thing that I wanted to mention just about the self-sabotage is the way that Statler talks about being in debt. Like, I've gone into all this debt for you, for our relationship, to have this van life. Well, excuse me, Statler. That's an exaggeration because she had a choice, remember? She got offered the amount of money that she needed to pay for her half of the van by the guy who wanted to buy her car. And she chose not to take that money and to take out a loan instead. So you went into debt by your own volition, by your own choice. Nobody made you go into debt. You decided to do that and to keep your car when you could have sold it. So you didn't go into debt for anybody but yourself. And I hate it when people use this kind of an excuse in a relationship. I did this for you. No, you did not. That's an outright lie.
And also, she created the situation because she was the one that's like, we need to do this now.
Yeah.
Whereas Dempsey said, well, why don't we wait another 6 months and,
Yeah.
you know, get some more money. But no, Statler says, now. And I'm also not selling my car. So now I'm going to get a cash advance from work. So how is she paying that off? Is she working overtime?
I don't know. But we found out so many interesting things in this episode about conversations that they'd had in the past that were never mentioned by Statler, such as they'd had a conversation about having a legal document that stated that the van was in both their names, that they were equal partners in owning this van. And Statler didn't want to go through with it or just forgot about it or didn't actually follow through when Dempsey offered to have this done in a legal way. So now the van is only in Dempsey's name.
No, all these things that could have been prevented are being thrown in my face, and now I am suffering from poor decisions that I have made. But it's not her fault.
The self-victimization is just unbelievable.
And so constant.
Yeah. I am agreeing with you on this couple. I am very tired of them and I just want them to go away.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the final couple for this week on The Other Way was Josh and Lily. Oh, no, it wasn't. I lied. We have another one after that. Damn it. Okay, Josh and Lily, let's do it. They're arguing about a flashing light. Okay. Who hasn't argued about a flashing light? Honestly, it's one of the things that comes up in couples all the time.
my issue is that he apparently ragged on about it for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And all she had to do was tell him after he asked the first time
Yeah.
exactly what it was. But she said at that time she couldn't find the words to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But why couldn't you get out your translation app when you got home or pull over and grab your translation app and explain it to him? Why would you let this go on for 3 days? This was a completely unavoidable argument. And yet,
You mean avoidable?
yeah, what did I say?
Unavoidable.
Oh, yeah.
Because we all argue about the flashing light. It's unavoidable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I feel like she immediately got into her righteous space, and she didn't want to be bothered with looking at the translation app or trying to figure out what the words actually meant, or, slowing things down. I thought that she just got stuck in a space of feeling that she didn't have to figure out what he was trying to tell her because he's being absurd. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, he does harp on about it for 3 days, which is ridiculous. Who does that? But at the same time, he's saying that because this happened, she's going on and on about her contributions to the relationship, which she tends to do when they get into an argument. We've heard this before. And so they're stuck in this pattern where she says, I've done this, I've done that, I've sacrificed so much, I give you all my money. Then he says stuff like, oh, you're going to leave me anyway. They're doing the exact same thing that they promised they would stop doing a couple of episodes ago when we last saw them.
Yeah.
It's a bit frustrating. So yeah, I think their argument style is very toxic. Did you notice that they were both using hyperbole a lot, like saying things like, well, she always does that, or he never does this. And that is such a bad way to argue. When you talk in absolutes, it's very unhealthy because it paints your partner as having only a bad side or only being capable of being one way, when in fact you should give them the space to have good qualities as well as bad qualities and say, well, when you did this, like, it happened once. When you did this, it made me feel like that. Not, you always do that and it makes me feel such and such a way.
Yeah.
So they just managed to push each other further away by the way that they're speaking to each other. And I feel like they don't really have any deep-seated issues that revolve around not being compatible. I think it's all based in communication. They both are bad communicators and they both need to find better ways to speak to each other.
But I also found that like Lily seems to be done with the relationship. I don't know if it's just the way that she communicated it, but she's like, I will not be in a loveless relationship and maybe we should just break up. What?
Yeah, I mean, that is a coping mechanism that a lot of people go to, is going straight to the catastrophe. This obviously means we shouldn't be together. This obviously means our marriage is doomed, or this obviously means that you don't love me and you're unhappy, so we should split up. But she's not trying to push him away. I think what she's trying to do there is to save herself, like to protect her own feelings. And so she's going to the worst case scenario. She's making the catastrophic situation so that she can then pull back her own feelings and protect. And then if he does leave her, she's ready for it.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Meh. Read on?
Yes, please.
Okay. Corona and Inky. Thankfully, very quick. Okay, what's that all about?
I found that video call to be so awkward, so awful.
Yep.
The way that her mom just like threatened him, said she was gonna kill him and come after him, like just. And then everyone's laughing as if it's supposed to be funny. No, no. Like, we already know that this relationship is complete baloney, but I would not be laughing if my clearly unstable mother was just like, I'll kill you if anything happens to her. As if, Corona hasn't made her own decisions to go there. Like, they're just or her mom, at least, is blaming Inky for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was extremely awkward. I didn't like the vibe that the family was giving. I thought it was overly aggressive and particularly heavy-handed when it came to the topic of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's been 4 months.
They were really putting the pressure on Inky, which, like, this is the first time you guys are speaking to this man in a video chat. Give him a little time.
Mm-hmm.
Get to know him a little bit, and then maybe if you have to intrude on their personal decision making, ask if they're going to get married. This is not really what people do. It's not necessary. It's kind of intrusive.
Where's the ring? Where's the ring?
Yeah.
After 4 weeks.
Or
4 months. Sorry.
4 months.
It's gross. Meddling. Get out.
Mm-hmm. And
but
to
I thought
his,
it was.
you thought it was?
Oh, I thought it was really funny when they're like, so why have you never been in a relationship? And he said that he was looking forward to sharing his life with someone like Corona, but not Corona specifically.
Yeah, that's a good one. I enjoyed the fact that he was just so nonplussed by the family coming at him about marriage and expectations and so on and death threats. He took it all in stride. He was being really, really cool about having his life threatened. If Corona was actually marriage-minded, then she chose the complete opposite of what she's looking for in a man like Inky. Because everything about him, his demeanor, his personality, his culture, his upbringing, everything about him says, I'm not the least bit worried about getting married at any point in my life, if I even think about it. And yet here she is starting to do the I want a ring dance.
With her family in the supporting cast.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's all baloney. This relationship isn't real. But they're going to try to lead us down the garden path as much as they can and get their 15 minutes of fame for the sake of pretending they are real.
All right, well, I'm just going to scream from the top of a mountain, we don't believe you.
No, we don't.
No, we do not.
So, are you satisfied? Are there any other things that need to be said for this week?
Nope, I don't think so. I think I'm good.
All right, because we did not see Sean and Joanne this week, and I believe we did see Shekinah and Sarpa, but as usual, no thank you. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week. Okay, so we got to wait until...